Hey, welcome to virtual and physical natural balance masterclass. Now, you hearing my voice, you're in the presence of natural balance masterclass, and welcome. And so, what is Natural Balance Masterclass? Well, this masterclass is specifically a brand and a movement that's expressing through the hearts and minds of the people. And how this shows up is through the letting go of the resistance, which the resistance is a resistance to the full expression of the true self. And resistance is also programming, and programming produces resistance. And when that isn't, what is the true self. And what the true self is the balanced expression of a human that also has is fully expressing spirit. So it's not like this overpendulation of human without spirit or spirit without human. It's the integration of the spirit and the human, and this integration is, in addition, it's the cooperation of spirit and human together, and then that expression. And through that expression, there's an opportunity for uh, a perceived separate being to receive that and to step into it and to recognize that that actually is possible, that that actually is um, it's a reality, but it's also the truth that is available when we just open up and when we start to cooperate with the programmings, when we actually accept the programmings, but we're not accepting that they're going to keep staying here and that they're going to keep showing up. The acceptance of the programming and of the trauma and of the darkness, it's the accepting of them to begin to distinguish them with the ultimatum of then the transcendence of them and the accepting of them and the distinguishment of the trauma and of the programming being a initial step in the process of the transcendence of the thing that is causing resistance to literally life in this case. Because these programmings and these traumas, these are the things that have us like um, perceive that like it's like a death program. And so when we let go of that, then we're opening up to a life program, like being alive. Um, so, um, welcome, Cole. You're welcome. Welcome, David. Welcome, Joseph. So, how to be here? How to be here is right now we're in a state of flow. So, if you feel called to share, you can raise your physical hand. You can, in addition, just get a microphone and begin to speak. If you're online, you can raise your physical hand, or you can raise your virtual hand, or you can literally unmute and begin communicating. Imagine that we're in a mastermind, that we are a collective brain while you're here. And so with that, I accept and encourage interruptions because I don't see them as being interruptions. I see them as being contributions that are adding lift and value to the conversation. And so that's a piece on how to be here. And with that, I'm going to stop talking. And Cole, I felt you. Is there something you want to share?
Yeah, like I feel like you were speaking to me with the death programming. Like, can you expand more on that? Like, Or just, I guess, just reiterate what you explained, if you can.
What I was really speaking to was like life is like this ever-changing process of from one state to another, and that changing of state is there's a presence, there's the observer that doesn't change state, but it is observing the changing state happening. And that's life occurring. And the observer is observing life occurring. And then this death program is the program that what this changing of state is death and rebirth. So it's a program of separation. Because really it's just changing of state. And it's the changing of like, all right, so being in one state, being focused, being observing this point, and now in the death program, dying, and then now the focus goes from this point to this point, and now I'm looking at a different picture, and it's a changing of state, and it's a changing of what the observer is seeing. But in the death program, it's a program of separation, and it's a program of like seeing that this changing of state is a dying and a rebirth. And so that's what I got for right now. And there's way more to it than what I spoke
444.
to. Yes.
Yeah, I've just been, awakening, right? So, like literally I've been going through the refiner's fire, and like literally I can say like this morning I didn't want to be here, you know? And
Like physically or
just
how?
like anywhere. Yeah, physically, spiritually. Spiritually, I've just been fucking depressed since like Monday. And just like didn't like just I don't know what's going on, but I'm just getting fucking I'm definitely getting the shit burnt out of me from what it says. But I'm also like, I shaved my head today, and it was like a shedding. I didn't know if it was time or not. I just went ahead and did it, but I knew it was like shedding off all the past shit and just shedding off all the fucking bad energy I've been living in. And it's like I felt like way better after it. I feel lighter, but I mean, I'm still feeling like I can still feel that fucking intensity inside of me that's just like, you know, it's just like existential shit. But also I'm like awakening to like just fucking the beauty around me, and like just like God, I feel like, and just like awakening to that. So I don't know. It's just been a crazy experience for me this week, to be honest. But I can speak to like the death programming. It's just like the yeah, it's just like a dead like I've been facing like literally death inside myself. It feels like I don't know. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Joseph, welcome.
Hey,
Hey.
so when you guys were sharing, something, popped up.
No, not Joseph. It's Wallace.
Huh? What? Oh, Wallace is here too.
Hey, there's Joseph. Yeah, they changed the Mighty Mac or Mighty Network login, and it took me quite a while, and then I got the spinning circle forever. So sorry that I'm late, folks, but every time they change something for us guys that aren't as young as all y'all are, it makes it challenging.
Yes, sir. Welcome, Wallace. Joseph is in the middle of a share, so I'm going to open the floor for Joseph. And if you want to share, like, feel free to raise your hand, unmute yourself and share. Welcome, Joseph.
Hey, so what I was gonna say is, whatever you're going through at any time, you can always look at the frame that you're looking at it from. So like, the death programming, you could even think of the old world as like an anti-civilization. That domestication is like, ah, damn, you know, I messed up the thing. I'm a failure. I'm getting it wrong. That's a death frame. It's a disempowering frame. So you can switch that to a positive reframe, like, yeah, I'm going through the fires right now. That must mean that I'm being made into something awesome.
Amen, brother. You still on your fast, man?
Yeah, this is day 24 out of 40.
Damn, son. Let's go. That's inspiring as hell.
Thank you.
Yeah, with the truth program, I think that like you can have that reframe, but there's a degree of there not even needing to be a reframe. Like the truth is like the frame. It's like the thing that actually doesn't need a frame. It's the thing that's like when you let go of the death program, like what's left is the truth. And so there's a degree of like this reframe, like what I see with it is that it's like telling yourself the truth, like letting go of some bullshit, whatever has been picked up, and being like, you know what, like this is the truth, like this is actually being of contribution to my soul's growth. And like I might not like it at the time, but like 5 years from now, like the person I'm gonna be, and like looking back on having gone through this, like I'm gonna be like a whole new soul in 5 years from now. And this hard thing that I'm going through right now is like literally contributing to me being that person. And that's the truth. Like that's
These
not
things are
like
bad. Oh, you're full out walking. No, these were falling out, and if they fall
Dude,
out, they're
that's
gonna
straight
hurt
up facts,
somebody.
Neal. Like straight up. Cause and it's like the hardest thing to realize when you're in the middle of it.
Right down.
It's like the hardest thing to realize when you're right in the middle of it. Like when I'm in the middle of it, dude, it feels like there's no way out, you know? It's just like, but to have the trust in that process when you're going through it, it's just like, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, boy. I'm not the potter, I'm the clay.
And a large degree of this programming is also, so separation is the core of it. And then that has us being this perspective of the past and the future. And when we're here now, the past and the future exist inside of the present. And the past and the future actually don't exist, but the present is in truth the only thing that exists. And so when I'm here now, it's like, all right, well, now that I'm here, like, now what? Like, and the now what is that I can be in acceptance of the present moment and choose to, like, tap into God. And actually, I don't, yeah, I guess you can choose to tap into God, but we're programmed to tap into the programming at that when somebody's just about present, then they tap into the programming and it has them like thinking about the past and getting anxiety or depression for the past, and then or contemplating the future and being anxious. And that's why it's like so relevant to let go of this programming and just be here now. And then from here now, being like, all right, what is the highest and best for my soul right now? Like, and it's like for the one self, like the soul is still like this degree of perception of separation, but there's the one self, which is like literally oneness. And so what, in this present moment, like, what is the highest and best for oneness, for like the whole self, the entirety, and then taking a step and not thinking about the step, but literally taking a step, like being open-hearted and stepping and being completely present in the step, and then landing at a new location and maintaining presence the entire time. And in the maintaining of presence, what is happening, because we're seeing images change in front of our eyes, and we're seeing from different locations in space and time. And as this occurs, when we see red, we feel a certain way. When we see green, we feel a certain way. When we see a sunset, we feel a certain way. When we see an ocean, we feel a certain way. And we think a certain, like maybe thoughts come up when the image changes. And so presence is noticing the image changing and noticing what are the feelings that come up when I'm looking at a tree and now I'm looking at a human, or now a dog walked across my path and now I see a dog, and just observing what's the feelings that come up when I see the dog, what's the thoughts that come up when I see the dog. And so being present, watching the image change and observing the things come up and not needing to latch on to any one thing, and just noticing what's going on. And this is presence, and this is the here now. And there's a high degree of faith required to be here now.
Is there a way I can be assisted in being present here and now? Because I am very much distracted by the fact that Deja is crying over there, and I was thinking of bringing her in, calling her in, or but she's good, it seems like, for now. But I'm still over there and not over here. So, Cole, you had something? Oh, you raised your hand.
Yeah, what's going on inside of you when that's happening?
Well, I feel like today I held the line, that I felt very strongly in myself, not because, I was told or asked by the community or whatever, but and I feel like because I did that, I actually can assist her, would have been able to assist her in this moment. And the only reason I didn't now is because that line still existed in the community, as far as like that's, I don't know, expected, or like it would be breaking a rule, an artificial rule, an artificial line that was set that internally I already hold and have. And so I'm like, I was split in this moment about what.
So you
what
already
to
have
do.
that line, but it's artificial.
No, internally it's real, but now that was already kind of held, like that was already internally, I guess you can call it a boundary or whatever, like was placed. Externally in this moment, it felt artificial to not, come and talk to her and just, it's so yeah, it's very difficult to.
Looks like she's got all she needs over there, though.
Yeah, well, that's
This
what
is
I
probably
said.
something that's been a
That's
long
what I
time coming, right?
Sure, yeah. Well, I don't know what
Maybe
it's
sh-
about. I don't
maybe
even know what it's about.
it's like the hero thing. It's like,
I
like-
actually wasn't feeling
well, yeah,
I wasn't
but
feeling it. But
you see, like you never really feel it in the moment, but
it's more the conflict about me not. The only reason I didn't, like, I didn't have a pull. I didn't have a attraction to it. But I did have an aversion that was coming from the outside because of, like, whatever promise or just commitment with the community when, as far as this is concerned.
The aversion or the attachment, those are the programs. So
I understand, but I'm saying the program, it came from
aversion-
here.
The program came from inside of you, and putting it outside is part of the programming of separation.
Well, that's the, well, it's okay.
And so, accepting ownership of like, oh, like there's this aversion going on inside of me that I am responsible for.
Yes, yes.
And the image has changed, so there's a new picture in front of me, and there's these feelings inside of me. So now that I'm feeling this way, I don't need to change what I'm feeling. All right, so I'm feeling aversion, and I'm seeing this, I'm observing this. All right, so now what's the next step that I can take that would be the highest good for the whole self?
I felt
now.
that, so this, you're speaking to it right there. It's like I felt that it would be to not kind of listen to the aversion, which was programming, as you say, and actually just act from a place that I felt would be in integrity with myself. But that's the conflict I found myself in, is that I felt like the step there would have been to actually, approach and have the conversation that I felt I could have actually positively contributed to in this moment. But instead, I kind of went and asked John, and I texted Tammy, and I'm like, that's stupid. Like it doesn't. I don't know. I'm just tired of getting flack. I guess that's the first time I made a decision purely out of that. Like this whole time, I'm like have been stubbornly coming to the table with whatever shit, knowing I'm gonna have it, like my ass handed to me or whatever. But this time, I feel like I chickened out, or like I didn't want. That's what was driving me. Like it was an aversion to the consequences, which is not the truth, which is not in truth. And so,
And in addition, consequences are inevitable.
yeah, it's like pick your poison, or pick your I don't know, pick your consequence.
Well, and it's not even that, it's like the picking of the consequence, it's the making of a decision. And then based on that, there are consequences. And consequences aren't detrimental always.
Oh, yeah.
Their consequences are neutral. There can be
Yes.
detrimental and positive consequences.
Right, and I think I didn't want to face the positive consequences because going over, and because it was unknown, I guess. So I mean, the negative consequences were known as far as what was said. Like, okay, well, if you talk to her, it's like she gets kicked out, and I'm like, oh, that's fucked up, and that's like an artificial rule, and I'm like, I didn't want to play those cards. Like I wanted to neutralize. I guess I went to neutralize it by speaking with John and seeing if like this is ridiculous right now, and it's not that condition that it's supposed to be living in an unconditional sort of space and owning, and you do that by owning your shit and telling the truth. And like, yeah, the picture sort of changed, or it flipped, and so I'm like, I wasn't sure whether to act independently in that moment, or Yeah, and I feel like that's what I'm coming up against in general.
Why don't you just make a decision and like live with it?
Yeah, well, I guess I did, and the decision was not to. And this is me living with it.
So this is gold. So you did make a decision, but for some reason, because of programming, there was like a second guessing the decision you made.
Well, I guess that's not true. I guess I didn't. I defaulted. It defaulted, and then I saw B like passing by, and I kind of did like the head sort of thing, and she went there, and then I'm like, all right, well, that's how that played out, and that's just what it is. But I didn't make the decision, so it's still in me. I guess that's why I'm speaking to it. The moment passed, like the fork in the road, I guess. But the decision I made is to act by coming to like asking John and asking like Tammy or the Holy Spirit, quote unquote. I mean, I have to say, quote unquote, not that I don't trust Tammy's connection, but that it's just I can't. It's like blindly taking the word there as opposed to going with what I felt in the moment, which is like, yeah, it's not an issue. Like, there's no reason I couldn't have in that moment chosen to, approach her.
What do you got, Joseph?
I don't think he knows like the situation fully.
I get it, but we're all one, so let's see what
No.
comes through.
No, I don't know the exact situation, so this may seem a little bit out of context, but it relates to
Amazing.
what we were talking about earlier. You know, with the being in the moment and the presence. So this is kind of a fun way to look at it. So it's like pretend you're a little kid. In this moment, I get to make the decision to choose to open my present, to be present, and open my presence. Get it? Presence, eh? And receive the gift that I can receive right now. And because it's the present, because it's now, because it's the moment, it's always available. Love is always available.
I actually did get something out of that just now.
Come on.
And what I felt called in that moment is just to check. I mean, as you said, check in with what is, independent of whatever moving parts or variables or contingencies or whatever on the outside. Just what the hell is present, not just in terms of feeling, but in terms of just truth. Truth independent of anyone and anything. And so I guess that actually does, that is what I was asking for when I originally prompted you guys as far as helping me get present, to hear. And yeah, I think I would just sit with that and listen. And I'm at the very least present now in this circle, so whatever unfolds. Yeah.
Beautiful.
What's going on with Wallace today? What's going on with Wallace today?
Hey, Wallace, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, if you're speaking, you're still muted.
There we go. I just got to unmute.
Come on.
Okay. So what's going on with Wallace today? Wallace got exceedingly blessed by Kubi, who helped me finally set up a wallet, which I don't do the techie stuff very well at all. It's quite challenging. And so I'm just presently trying to hear you guys, but it cuts in and out a lot. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, loud and clear.
I'm just going up and down steps to you able to hear me.
Yes,
Hello?
your audio is coming through great.
Okay, great. So anyhow, I'm just doing my best to try and participate, even though I ordered new service to hopefully get a better signal so I can actually communicate better with everybody. Because using this little phone and then having it cut in and cut out and telling me that it's not hooked up is just been an ongoing frustration. And now I'm just trying to participate, trying to listen in, and trying to get healthier and healthier so that when I'm down there, I won't be in a needy way. So I'm getting stronger and stronger and starting to understand things a little bit better, trying to work through them. And that's what's up with Wallace right now. And pleasure to be able, buddy.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Well, thank you for having me on, and thank you for making the space available to be able to do so, Neal. And
You're
it's
welcome.
always a pleasure to hear your voice because you speak nice and clearly. And to my old ears, it's an easy voice to understand. Some of the higher pitched voices or some of the mousy voices make it challenging. You come through loud and clear. And I'm not referring to any of the other guys that were there talking. It's just the cutting in and out of my signal and trying to
Yes.
talk while I walk up and down steps and not sound too winded.
Yes. Yeah, like when you say like I come through loud and clear, like that's like this genuine surprise for me because it's like there was a point where like I didn't even really know how to talk and I didn't like talking and I especially like when I was in school I like hated presenting things like it'd be like, oh, it's time to present your project or whatever and my heart would race, like I would get like I had like trauma around that. It was like there was like no way I want to get up there in front of peers and in front of my fellow people and communicate. And so like you speaking to that now, Wallace, like I'm like looking inside, I'm like, well, what has changed? And like a lot of what has changed has been this letting go of the programming. It's like this letting go of like because like when I was feeling those things, like part of the programming that I was feeling was this feeling of like needing to get it right and needing to have the perfect project and saying the right things and uh, I don't really give a shit about that anymore. What I give a shit about now is listening to what is being called to be communicated in the moment and then just opening up and having that thing, having what love would say, like speak. And, and I think a large degree of the clarity is that like Neal, the man, the identity, the programming has less of an agenda right now in this moment than I've probably ever had in my entire life. Like I used to, everything I did was with an agenda, and now like I have an agenda, but it's like now the agenda is pure and it's wholesome, and it's fulfilling and it's like uplifting and.
Can you distinguish agenda?
Um,
Agenda.
Agenda, I would distinguish as um, intention, and my intention used to be egoic, and now it's more of a soul intention, and so this is like what
So
I'm saying.
agenda was to try and get something.
Oh yes,
Oh, okay.
but agenda can be anything, and like that's just one
Okay,
aspect of agenda.
I got you. I mean, the reason I ask is because you've shared with me in the past how you had like a calling or a feeling of purpose when it came to like reaching the masses in some way through, I'm not sure exactly what it was, content creation of some sort. And I was wondering if you considered that a part of it, or if that was already post that period that you're referring to as far as agenda, or
That's later than where I'm speaking from, and that at one point was still an egoic agenda. Now I see it as being a sole purpose, and because I don't need that at this point. Like my cell phone, the screen got like cracked, and like some of the times it works, some of the times it doesn't. Um, it's really weird how my phone is operating right now, and so I'm not really using my phone. I use it for music now, but it doesn't always function. Like the thing is clunky as fuck right now. And I say that because I've basically like just announced like to my peers, to my community that like, hey, if you want to communicate with me in person. Or you can send me an email, but like I actually don't have a phone right now that you can just text me. And you can expect me to communicate with you in that way. Like if I need something or if I need to communicate with you, it's going to be in person. I have the option of sending emails, so that's an option for me. But I'm saying this because like this content creation, this reaching of the masses is this technological, it requires a technological aspect to do that on one degree, on one level. And there was a point where this would have been a huge problem for me to like have this phone operate like dysfunctionally, like actually not work. And but I'm like, I don't even like care. Like I care about being present and um like my point with saying what I'm saying, if like the computers shut down, if there's like an EMF thing that occurs where stuff doesn't technology doesn't function, um, my internal state is gonna be like 1% to none to being affected. Whereas in the past, when I had this egoic agenda of reaching the masses, if that were to have happened, I would have been like stirred up. Like I would have needed to like find some other way to reach people. I probably would have been pretty anxious. And currently, like, I don't have that. Like, I'm peaceful. Like, I'm peaceful whether there's people present or whether I'm in the perception of like alone, like in the physical body. And um, so because of that, there's this freedom in now having an agenda to connect with masses of people that freedom wasn't present before, and it is present now.
yeah, I mean, the surrounding technology, all this stuff used to be like my biggest nightmare of just all technology going down, because like I feel like I found solace to some degree, and I like expansive, like my ability to store and expand and have like an experience through, like basically my computer was my life, right? Like everything's stored on it, all the hard drives that were all backed up, you know, and mirrored and like, yeah, my biggest fear was like a fire, then like everything getting lost. And the EMF thing, it's like a big part of my consideration with every piece of audio equipment I would ever get is EMF, like signal interference or bleeding, and so I don't know. It's so I relate to what you're saying in some ways directly, in some ways in a kind of weird indirect way, but I do question. It's still a question that's in me as far as like technology is concerned and reaching people, and like if it's just treated black and white as something that is inherently like taking you out of the present, right? It's taking you out of connection with other people in reality, then it creates I guess a paradox, or just there's an irony to then using it to reach people to whatever capacity, to a smaller or larger, and the intention being larger, right, and increasingly larger. And so, yeah, I'm kind of wondering where I find myself in relation to that now and kind of moving forward, because that is still the role and where I see myself, you know, what I see myself occupying as far as like a box, and as far as even my purpose moving forward. So it's like if it's like this for you, right? Why should it be, or why would it be different for me? Because like if we're talking about oneness and we're talking about connection and what takes you further or closer to it, then it would make one of us further from the truth or closer, depending on how we relate to it or how we don't. So I think it's a question that's worth reflecting on. I don't have any further reflections, but
I was curious if you got like a dialed in question with that.
I could probably
Like a
make one. Yeah.
distilled question.
Is technology or engagement with digital spaces, is that inherently, I don't want to say negative or good or bad. It's more like, is it inherently take you further from connection, or can it potentially assist? Yeah, I guess that would be the question.
Yeah. So that's the question. Wallace, welcome.
Okay. Here's my dilemma that had me frustrated for the last couple of years, because here we are trying to set up a functional alternative to what's being basically radically shoved up our asses, whether we like it or not. So those of you that are lucky enough to be sitting in the little circle down in Costa Rica are already there. But at any moment in time, if these control everything out of their extreme egos decides to pull the plug on the internet, what 3-4 years worth of nature coin do me if it's not accessible, and at the same time it's no longer negotiable in any other deal? I mean, I can remember back, let's see, 41 years, 1 month, and 5 days ago, in the deepest levels of hell, and radically changed my life from being a very ugly person to one that realizing hell was a reality and therefore crying out to a merciful God to forgive me. And then having been forgiven, it completely changed my life around. But all this new technology that's being shoved into our system, whether it's little rings that you keep on your finger that tell you what all your biometrics are, or the newer watches or other stuff, instead of just, going with how you really feel versus being told on a 24-hour basis and being monitored. I remember how angry I got when I realized, holy crap, I've been programmed to be a subservient, obedient, compliant nothing to a mechanism, a system that doesn't give a shit about me other than what they can get out of me and how they can use and abuse me. And I was abused horribly as a child, so that wasn't a real pleasant thought to think, oh, now I'm going to be the powers that be. And so trying to break away from that, I went down to Uruguay to do a similar as what's taking place in the Earthwaking village, and only to be disappointed that the people that I was working with were full of shit. They were interested in the money, and I went down to teach them how to be organic, how to be self-sufficient, and they were using the glyphosate fertilizers, and all they could care about is how they could their yields up and prevent the rain from causing it to fungus and ruin the crop, and therefore spraying it with glyphosate so they could harvest it before the rain. And having ongoing crop rotations, it was I couldn't anymore. And so, we come to the realization that I look at kids up here because they sit across each other at a distance where they could actually be holding hands and having a physical connection, and they don't even talk. They communicate with their text. They don't even
Yes.
to each other on the cell phones they have. They actually text. And how much more dehumanizing what we really are seeking is a very intimate relationship in oneness. When I realized that the God of all creation and the God of love and the God that showed mercy upon me when I didn't deserve it at all, being in the bottom pits and the ugliness of hell, is totally what I had coming to me for all the choices I had made from my childhood to the present. It's a little bit puzzling to me that everybody is getting all excited, which, hey, it took me only 2 years to try and figure out, okay, I've been pouring all the resources I have available into making sure this sucker floats. And then if like you said, if somebody pulls an EMF, I'm totally comfortable with living out miles from the nearest place where I could even get a phone call or get a connection. And I was him. I didn't miss it. When you first go down and you get into a situation like that where you can't connect with the rest of the world, it's a little bit frustrating. But after a few months of that, it was extremely liberating, not having to worry about, oh, is my phone charged? Oh, can I get an internet signal? Oh, can I do WhatsApp and speak with other people? Versus like Neal, like you were saying, I'm much more comfortable and happy to have a one-on-one. And I tell people all the time, hey, you want to get in touch with me? It's who I am, and it I rarely ever, I have children that rarely communicate, rarely have contact, and it saddens me because I'm at an age now where at any point in time, having been dead as many times as I have, the next one might be the one where I don't come back. And they're missing out on, in this country, the aged are completely discounted. Nuisance. They came up with this crap called COVID to try and wipe us, the minorities that they didn't want hanging around. And this is our so-called health system, and they're trying to do with everything else. It's frustrating. So I'm glad that down there everybody gets together as a group instead of eating in cubicles. I live presently in a senior community where I rarely see anybody other than walking past them, and they spend their whole day shut down and crap. I'm excited as can be that things happening there like I was trying to have it happen 40 some years ago. I had tens of thousands of avocado trees and citrus trees and macadamia trees and all these subtropicals because I was in Southern California area. But then they took my water away. All the wells I put in, they came out and put meters on them, eminent domain. And then they fluoridated all this shit that I had to buy. Instead of spending on electrical charges, it went up to over $100,000 in crap water a month. And it's beautiful that Costa Rica doesn't have a military, but when you have places like China and Brazil now, which has gone completely socialistically back into the dark ages, it's if they want to take what they want to take, and this government doesn't make some radical changes in a positive way, the last 4 years have been an absolute nightmare, which is, I foresaw that being, I did not think when I went down to South America that Trump was going to get into office and make some changes. But that's a political system that's so corrupt. I mean, I consider myself an anarchist, and most people don't even know what that means. It means no, and
Hey,
ARC means
Wallace.
leadership, and
Wallace.
we're supposed to be under one God. I'm Ren. Go ahead.
Oh, there's a bit of a delay. I
Hello.
was just gonna ask if you had the intention of possibly circling back as far as the original question was concerned regarding technology, and if you know, just addressing the paradox of the
Well,
as far as it being, you know, in potentially in service of interconnectivity as opposed to detrimental.
Absolutely. That's why we're doing what we're doing. But like I mentioned, it could all go away in the blinking of an eye. As you mentioned, be it an EMF or just the powers that be. I mean, the last this last weekend that just passed, Verizon, with who I have service, they shut it down and look at certain things that I try to listen to, and the volume's not there, the connectivity isn't there. So I grew up where you wrote letters and to get a reply.
yeah,
I
I'm
don't
just
think
gonna
most young
put in
kids can
here.
write anymore.
I'm just gonna put in here. We're at time, so we're now in overtime. So if you want to leave, you're welcome to leave. There's a lot of richness. There's a lot of richness here. I'm going to keep going into overtime, so you're welcome to stay here and be here present. But we are in overtime.
When is there anything else taking place after this? The new Mighty Might is a little bit different to navigate.
I did not fully hear your question.
The question was, I think this is the last event of the day. So I'm totally game for you to extend it. I'm still going up and down steps to get in shape, and I finished my gallon's worth of green bitter veggies, and I've had to make a couple of bathroom trips while we started and did this, just because what goes in has to come out. So yeah, if you're gonna go longer, I'm definitely willing to hear. I'm curious as how to everybody else feels about the fact that we've been conditioned to be a compliant, obedient replacement to slavery. And when I figured that out, it was like, oh my God. And then when I figured out the monetary system was screwed, it's like, brrr. And
Yes, and it's not
technology,
even
yeah, it
like
can be a great asset, or it can really be.
yes, like it's not even a replacement for slavery. It's full on slavery, and it's just being presented in a different way. Um, but like what I see with this
Well, look at the advantage to the sons of bitches.
yes. What I see with the technology
Hello?
is
You cut
that
out.
like we have these apps on our phone, and we're taught that these apps are on our phone, and then there's like us thinking. But like I'm proposing this other concept where these apps are, if they're on our phone, they're inside our brains, even if we're not on our phone. And so that's taking up RAM, that's taking up space in our brain that were we to not have these apps on our phone, we'd have more capacity, more RAM in our brain for other options, for additional capacity output. And in addition to that, that's kind of pointing towards this like the perception of there's like this limited capacity we have, but I don't buy that. I actually believe we have infinite processing potential. Like I think our ability to process and cognate and operate and function is like so exponentially more than we're taught that it is. And so this is what I believe, and I believe this is the truth. And I believe it's the truth even if I don't believe it. Like I believe it's one of those things that we're taught like, oh, there's like this potential you've got, and then there's this cap. But what I'm saying is there's infinite potential, and
Here's a question.
all that infinite potential is accessible here now.
Here's a question. You guys are all quite young. You're half my age and even younger. I used to know hundreds of phone numbers, hundreds of addresses, hundreds of names. I mean, I my best and my damnedest to remember people's names, but half the time I can't even remember the number on my phone because we're so accustomed to pushing a button and not having to use our brains. You're absolutely right, Neal. They say that we don't even use 10% of our mental faculties. That's because they've taken that away. They purposely want to dumb us down. They purposely want us to not be able to function at the level you're talking about. I know the one encourage everybody to do so is learn how to have lucid dreams and ensure we get when we get our body to build itself at night and actually go dimensions that are much more available if we learn how. And I don't call them dreams. People, that title do so to diminish it, but we are in interdimensional beings, and we really can spend a majority of our time, because when you get out of this dimension, a minute or two can be a year. The time in this dimension is like slug time. Did I lose y'all?
There's no, we're here. What just happened was a breath of presence, and so there's with what everything we've spoken to, there's this like breakthrough that I've had also, which is like also stepping into this next level of faith and this like acceptance of like, you know, I'm peaceful here. Like it doesn't matter how many people I'm actually communicating with or like I'm at peace. Like I don't need that. There was a point in my past where I like needed that. But at this present moment, I'm good, and the good isn't like it's not like I need to be good. It's like wow, I'm actually at peace, and what this shift in perception was that had me be here is that the part of the programming that I was programmed with is that you actually need technology to reach mass amounts of people. And I currently am unsubscribed to that programming. I've unsubscribed. I don't subscribe to that. And I think,
Would you like to hear an alternative, Neal, that really works?
well, I'm going there, Wallace. So uh,
Okay.
the thing is that I do subscribe to is that we're all one and that we're all infinitely connected, and I'm already connected to you without technology. And what technology is a representation of the interconnectivity that we are without it. And so I'm already, me wanting to connect to mass amounts of people is a misperception that I'm not already connected to mass amounts of people. And so what I'm now putting my attention and focus on is going into the collective field. And therefore, I can literally sit and meditate and feel peace and love and acceptance and compassion and be observing nature and be affecting the masses as this is going into the collective field of the whole self. And so this is what has me capacity to be at peace without the technology, because the programming is that I need the technology to reach the masses, and the truth is I'm already reaching the masses, and what I'm thinking and feeling is being picked up in the collective field.
Amen.
My 2 cents, I guess, with respect to all of this is how I see technology moving forward is kind of like, I mean, we've had plays and theater for, forever. And I think technology, rather than being the reality that we're escaping into and basically supplanting
Spoke with them.
the truth and
Yeah, I got it lined up. They're going to be mailing it to me or delivering it.
Cole, can you mute him? It can serve as a more and more refined, accurate, as you say, representation of that interconnectivity, so that our minds kind of like, again, the reason why we play games or board games or anything, it can just create a frame that is meant to hold well, like I say, to represent the truth, so that when we go out into the quote-unquote unknown in the world, and when we connect with people in reality, we can have the frame of mind that is actually reflective of the truth that already is. So I could see technology assisting. Yeah.
I see this, and this concept is being used to have people go into a false reality. So what you're describing,
yes, it's being used for
what you're describing. Yes, it can be used for beneficial, like, and it is also being used right now in this moment to the detriment of millions of people.
Well, I feel like we have that
And-
distinction in the visionary program, the transformation for evil, and the same way the
Yes.
Bible can be used in that way, or the
Yes.
Antichrist or whatever. So right now, technology, I think you've spoken to this before, and John does, it's essentially taking the shape or form of the Antichrist.
Yes.
But it can, also.
And it can be of contribution and of benefit.
Yeah.
Like the exact same thing you're describing
Yeah.
with a different intention, it has
Right.
an entirely different effect.
I've been calling it like the Black Mirror effect, where everything true, the emergent truth of our present reality in time is being used in the context of the collective for the exact opposite of what the truth is. It's really for. So
Yes.
perverted essentially in that way.
Yes. Joseph, go ahead.
Hey,
Hey.
so I don't know if Wallace is still listening or not, but I wanted to say for Wallace, this isn't the last event of today. In about 15 to 20 minutes, there's listening and speaking from love, which goes for 2 hours. And then within the context of this space, we haven't even got to the offers part yet. So I'm sticking around for that for sure. And for the technology question, to that, I would say that, the technology, it's not inherently bad. Um, even something like artificial intelligence, the technology is just a tool. And so it's just a question of how we use it. Are we using it in a functional way or a dysfunctional way? And the problem with the society that, we've been raised in is that, their profits depend on us being addicted to it and using it in the most dysfunctional ways possible. So it's just a choice of, discerning that and choosing to use the technology in a way that gives life rather than, you know, parasitically and, moving closer to death.
Yes, I subscribe to what you just said. Like I believe this. All right, so we've been in a space of flow. Yeah, we're going to transition right now to structure, to giving and receiving offers, giving and receiving a gift. Have this gift be something from your heart, something from your purpose, and it can be from egoic purpose. The fruits are going to be different than if it's from your soul. So my invitation is to have your offer be from your soul, and have it be something tangible. That's like, it's a place, it's a thing, there's a price amount with it. It's something that if somebody hears this, they can actually receive it. It's tangible, and it's freely given and freely received. Freely not being without a price amount attached to it. Freely being having this openness in the giving of it and this openness in the receiving of it, and not being attached either way. Just being really open. And so tonight I'm gonna have someone else go first. So who would like to make an offer and go first? Joseph, I see your hand up. I know you've got an offer. Wallace, I see your hand up. I don't know if you've got a comment or if you've got an offer. But currently we're in the channel of giving an offer. So
Offer.
yeah, an offers. Oh, you do have an offer, Wallace?
That's a yes.
Alrighty. So you're going first tonight. Welcome, Wallace. You're muted. Wallace, you're muted.
I said, let someone else go first. I'm presently in the restroom.
Oh, copy that. Alrighty. Joseph, welcome.
Hey, um, so I've technically got 7 offers ranging from $5 to $55,555. I'm not going to go into all of them. I'll just go into the ones that are most relevant. So the lowest, I'll start from lowest to highest. First, it's a $5 offer or 2 nature coin, whichever you prefer. It's a heartfelt compliment. So if you receive the offer, I'm going to tell you about the greatness that I see in you. And I've made a post for the Tree of Life. So if it gets approved, then you can see it on there. I'm currently working on making videos for each of my offers so that, I can post them and share them and, have something advertising them. The next one is a $55 offer, and that is for up to 1 hour of coaching and consulting with me on a Zoom call. What I'm focused on right now is unleashing infinite abundance. And in that context, the biggest struggle that I've overcome and, would like to receive assistance with and help people with is, overcoming procrastination. Because whenever I did that, when I came back to earth waking, Neal really helped me kind of trampoline into that space. It was like all the stuff that I've been struggling with in my life, depression, anxiety, shyness, procrastination, just all this crap, it just started to fall away because I'm taking action from the heart on the things that matter. So that's the coaching offer. I actually had my first Unleashing Infinite Abundance Masterclass on this last Monday from 5 to 7, and 2 people showed up. One of them had some technology issues, so they dropped off, but one person stayed there the whole time, and it was a beautiful space, and so I'm going to share that with everyone else. So I've got it recorded, and it's going to post to YouTube. I've got it set to premiere. So it's going to happen this coming Monday from 5 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's gonna start playing on YouTube, and while we're watching it, you can do like a live chat with me as we're going through it again. And that's my first ever masterclass. There will be more. I haven't decided just when yet because I'm stepping into the space of working with Peter to kind of get like a nice website and all that kind of stuff organized. But at the end of my masterclass, you have the invitation to join the Mastermind for Unleashing Infinite Abundance. So you can do that for one payment of $197 or 3 payments of $77 and step into the space of unleashing infinite abundance. And the last offer pertinent to that is the lifetime VIP access offer for $555. So what that means is you get lifetime access to me, which means, this is only for the first 12 people that take this particular offer. It means, if you need help from me for something and you call me, like I'm just going to answer the phone, no questions asked, whatever I'm doing, as long as it's like safe to do it. And you also will get access to any and all creations that I put forward in the future. Any programs or masterminds or, whatever I create going forward, for being one of those first 12 people, you get access to all that stuff for free. So that's my main set of offers. The rest of them you can see on my website, which I pasted in the chat. And if you'd like to take one of my offers, send me an email at babylonTheLesser@protonmail.com, or you can also get in touch with me on Facebook Messenger or the Virtual Village. Thank you.
You're welcome. Wallace, welcome.
Oy. My phone just, Okay, I'm hoping this is going to work because I just plugged my phone in because I'm down to 3%. And
You're coming through loud and clear. You got 2
Okay.
minutes. Feel into your heart and let it rip.
as many of you have heard, I've been through a hell of a lot of messes. And it doesn't matter which mess you're in. I've probably been through it, if not once, maybe even a dozen times, be it death or poverty to wealth to poverty again, marital situations, relational situations, being screwed by partners. So this is my offer. Presently, I've been able to come back from some horrific health situations. And I'm still alive. I'm still, if you notice, I'm standing, and I was recently outstanding, and I spent the last hour and a half running up and down steps between bathroom breaks. And so it seems like 999 seems to be a popular number that everybody's bringing up. I've signed up for offers over many, many years. More than 50 years ago, I started doing different offerings to learn real estate, to learn investing, to learn tax return. So, but being presently on disability and having limited funds, that is a price that is very negotiable. It's flexible as to what you have available and what you're willing to offer. And I really like the offer that Joseph just made of being able to have it for a lifetime. And that one interests me, and I'd like to talk to him more about it. But that's my offer. If you're having any kind of a problem, it's a wide open range, but especially if it's a health issue problem, a dietary problem. I used to weigh over 300 pounds. I'm now under half of that, and I was under 100 pounds. I'm trying to regain back up to 150. And so I know how to lose weight. I know how to gain weight, especially as a senior. It's harder to put weight on than it is to take weight off. So I'll have to figure out how to put my contact information and all that in. I am on Earthwaking Village, and so you can contact me through Earthwaking Village, or if you're interested, you can contact me in person over like a mode like this. So that's the offer.
Wallace, request for you. Can you send me your offer in Earthwaking Village as a direct message?
I will do that.
And then if you're watching this replay, it'll be on YouTube. The offers will be in the description of this video. And what I'll do, Wallace, is when you send me that, I'll put it in the description of the video.
Fabulous. Thank you, Neal.
You're welcome. When can you send me that? I would love it tonight.
I'm presently involved in Peter's program, as a number of us are.
Yeah.
And I'd like to give it a few days before I do that, if that is okay, because I want to have all the things that Peter's requesting. And I'm learning how to use my wallet and all of that. So let's put it off a few days till probably the weekend would be. Oh, shit. Did I lose my signal?
No, you're still on, Wallace.
Oh, okay.
So can you have me, can you send me your offer by this weekend?
That's what I will do, Neal.
All right, amazing. All right, so I'm gonna call that complete, and I'm gonna share my offer. So are you someone who's leading people or an event facilitator that has like reached a plateau? Like you're aware there's more, but you've like plateaued, and you're aware there's more growth, there's more expansion, but you're not entirely sure how to go about it. Well, my offer is the up-level ceremony. This is a 7-day event, 5 days in food fasting, as well as during those 5 days, we're also in silence, and there's 6 hours of meditation per day. And the dates of this event are: start date is December 27th, 2024. End date is January 2nd, 2025. And the minimum donation is $333. And you can make your donation and then send me an email that says natural balance, and boom, you have a spot secured. I have like 26 spots available. That's max. And so if you want to be at this event, this is a physical event live here in Costa Rica. So we'll be in a collective meditation and in a collective fast during this event. I'm going to put all my information in the description of this video. That's my offer, and I'm way over time, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you for being you. Thank you for opening up your heart. You are the gift. Like you're the difference here in the world by looking at the programming and choosing to transcend it, it being the programming, and then after that, like actually focusing on what matters, which is God's intention for Earth, for us. And so when we focus on God's intention for us, for Earth, we see God's intention matter. Where attention goes, energy flows. And with that, peace.